Coach, do you, at this point in the season, do you look at the conference standings at all in regards to getting that top 4 seed in the tournament?
Well, it's there because people talk about it, obviously, but we don't. When we keep a running standings of, or we show the standings, every week where we are in a lot of different areas too. But it is what it is, and we know that going to a conference tournament, I've seen it work a lot of different ways. You could get that, you lose the first day, teams play before all that. But the bottom line is it's today. It's about doing what you do, and at the end, if you've done the body of work, if that's where you get seated, you get seated. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know if that's foremost on our mind right now. We talked yesterday again about where we've got to improve and what we need to get better with, but I don't think the most important thing is just winning the next game. And where it plays out, falls out, that's what we'll deal with.
Or the main areas you feel like you guys need to get better at?
Same thing we've talked about all year: consistency, details with really the focus. We've talked a lot about that. Trying not to go through those sequences in a game where we're put too many of them back to back. Again, we want perfection. We know we're not going to get it, even though we'll try to strive for it. But we just got to get everybody each game knowing exactly what we're going to get, and it goes back to consistency. And I think that starts every day in practice. And by now, you can look at numbers and say this, say that, but it's you're looking for consistency, and that's what I hope we can get to.
Do you use a week like this to go back and self-scout and implement new things or take things out, anything along those lines?
No, the biggest week for us was trying to get guys healthy. That was, we had to change our schedule the way we originally put it in because we just had guys at some injuries that, to be quite honest, I'm not sure they'll get 100% better because of where they are. So we've tried to manage that more this week than anything else. And, we've got a lot of different things that we do, but the core things that we always talk about is our defense, our rebounding, taking care of the ball. That won't change. And game to game, we talked about how every game's different, and whatever we think we'll go into that game with a game plan. That's what we do, and have to be able to adjust within the game.
What do you think's allowed you guys to be more productive in the paint these last few games?
I'm not sure, other than the fact that we haven't talked about anything different than we've always talked about. Some of us are opponents. Your opponent's trying to keep you from doing what they know you want to do, and they do a good job with that. And but again, I think it always goes back to focus, to really understanding every game, whether it's on the offensive end or the defensive end. I think our last couple of games we've broken down early defensively, and then we started the last game with two turnovers. We've talked about that all year, but some of that, again, you got to give credit to your opponent.
Stands out about A&M?
Do what?
What stands out about A&M?
Well, again, rebounding is the first thing, and the fact that they play extremely hard and well coached. They know their system. They know what they want to play, and I've known Buzz for a long time, and his teams always compete at the highest level. They best in the country rebounding wise. You look at that and drive the ball hard. They're going to pick the mismatches they want to go after, and that's what they're going to do. But just great effort from start to finish.
What do they do rebounding wise that makes them so good on the glass?
Well, one, they're big, and they recruit guys that can do it. So that's one thing. That's one of his, I would guess, is his philosophies in recruiting. Because you go back and look at his teams have always done that. And and he's got guys that have a real knack for it, and guys that again, you give he and his staff great credit in getting those guys to buy into that role, and that's what they do.
Coach, in this league, just about every night out, it's going to be a physical war. But with the way that Buzz has built that program, is this almost, maybe not a mirror image, but you guys believe in a lot of the same things: toughness, physical. I mean, you expect this to be just a battle going in.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you go back and look at the league. I mean, it's become a really, really, really good defensive league, really good rebounding league, because coaches understand it when teams are trying to keep you from scoring, that you've got to try to get to the glass. And so when coaches know you're trying to get to the glass, you put an emphasis on we got to block them out. We can try to get them to take a tough shot. So and you look in our league this year, then a lot of teams start driving the ball hard. Say, okay, we've got to get to the free throw line. We got to find a way to score if they're going to. So you need to get back, get your defense set. That's important. Yeah, I think regardless of who you're playing, I think we go into games expecting a really physical game some way, somehow.
Zakai versus Wade Taylor. I mean, I know there's a lot more matchups than just that one, but what about those two veteran guards?
Well, two guys that have impacted their programs in just an enormous way. When you think about what Zakai's done here, there's no doubt that Texas A&M feels the same way about Wade Taylor and what he's done in his career. And two guys that have made just tremendous impacts in their programs, and they've done it for a long time, which I think is really more impressive. The fact that they made those kind of impacts from the time they really walked on campus.
You think Zakai has a pretty good case as an All-American this season?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, you talk about a guy that's been a key guy, the guy that if he got one of his teammates to follow him over the cliff, they would follow him because he's got that kind of respect because of what he does every single day. And then when you talk about leading the team, it's been pretty much ranked in the top 10, 5 all year long. A guy that everybody game plans for, a guy that affects both the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball. And when you think about him doing that at the level that he is, knowing that he's being game planned for, I can't imagine there's not a coach in the country that would want to have Zakai. When you think about what he does to impact winning basketball games, it's truly phenomenal, and I don't know of anyone that does it better.
You think Chaz is in that All-American conversation as well?
Yeah, I think when you look at Chaz, I mean, you think about it, he came in from North Florida and averaging, 17, 18 points a game. And, again, a guy that gets game planned for every night, a guy that gets grabbed, pulled, shoved, any way you want to call it. I mean, and for him to make the adjustment, and it's in 1 year, it's really pretty remarkable when you think about what he's been able to do, again, in the most physical league in the country. And when people are really working hard to keep him from getting the ball all kind of ways, but he's learned to adjust to it. And, again, a guy that's being game planned for every single night, and to put up the numbers he has is pretty impressive.
Coach, was it helpful for your guys not having a midweek game this week?
Yeah, you think about it because of where we had guys that were hurt a little bit. And that's what I think all coaches, when that midweek comes, you hope it is at a time when, you'd like to give them rest, obviously, but for us, with the injuries that we had, the ones that, whether it's a calf strain, a big toe, those things that are hard to get right, a week won't do it, but it helps. And I think, and hopefully it's helped us, and as we get back into it now.
You said you might have made Z mad during halftime just to kind of challenge him to get back to the type of game that he plays, and he said after the game that he wanted to prove you right, that he could be better. Did you guys have a moment since the game after he had that 22-point halftime? He
and I do a great deal of talking with our eyes. He knows me, and he knows the look I give him. I understand him. I mean, I know his body language so well. And I think he knows my body, because his comment to me, I got you. Sometimes I don't say anything. I don't. I just look at him, and he said, I got you. And I'd have the utmost respect for him because, again, I'd say it all the time, his DNA, it's what he does every day in practice. I mean, very few guys do it. I mean, I wish they all did. I wish if I could bottle what he does in his approach every single day, it would be, I mean, I love going to practice, but I don't know if I'd ever have to raise my voice very much because I don't have to with him very much because he's a guy that he's a self-motivated, got a tremendous drive to get better. And like I said, what he's done in his career I think he'll leave here as one of the all-time great Tennessee Volunteers and really a guy that has impacted college basketball the last 4 years. I know he's been an inspiration for a lot of small guards. I mean, there's a lot of guards out there small guys that contact us because they see what he's done and they know that we believe in guys like that. And so he's has made impacts not only on the court, but what he's done outside the program as well.
Since Zakai came back from his injury, he's been shooting the ball a lot better from three-point land. What adjustments has he made to improve in that area?
Well, I think some of his teammates, the more consistent they can be with him, it doesn't put as much on him. I mean, as we all know, he's very unselfish. He wants to pass the ball. He loves the assist. And when those guys are consistent, he doesn't have to do as much, and he can kind of get away from the ball a little bit, play away from the ball, which he likes to do too. But it all goes back to our team and everyone doing their job.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.